show you really quickly how to assemble the cranberry apricot baked brie with honey. In this bowl we have our dried cranberries and apricots, our almonds, and I'm going to go ahead and add the honey to that. We have our fresh thyme, salt, and pepper. Let me show you really quickly right over here how your fresh thyme is. It's going to have these stalks. You do not want to include the stalks inside of your recipe. So you just run your hand along it and you see the leaves will just crumble off, and that's the portion that you're going to want to put into your recipe. So if you go against the grain of the stalk, it just slides right off, and then you'll just give it a quick chop. Let's go ahead over here and let's prepare our brie. This is an 8-inch round of brie. Any brand will work. But for this recipe, they want us to go ahead and cut this waxy rind off. It's perfectly safe to eat, but I think in this recipe they probably have you do it so that way it will melt better. You don't have to be perfect or anything. We just want to kind of quickly scrape it off. Do it nice and thin so you don't waste the good, yummy brie. And while this brie, I'm preparing it, I also have the puff pastry thawing. If you read the package directions for the puff pastry you can buy at your local grocery in the frozen food section near the desserts. That comes usually with 2 sheets. You're just going to need 1 sheet. And it says to lay it out for 40 minutes before you prepare your baked brie, and it'll be nice and thawed out. Alright, I'll check back with you in a few minutes after everything's ready and we will assemble. Alright, welcome back. Everything looks like it's ready to go ahead and prepare our baked brie. What you're going to do is take this thawed puff pastry. You're going to gently open it up. And you might want to go ahead and just lightly dust your clean prepared surface with some flour. Make the rolling a little bit easier. And what we're going to try to do is gently roll this out to about a 12 by 12 inch square. Don't worry if it's not exact. Kind of be gentle. We are going to be placing our brie right into the center of this pastry, and it is going to bake in our oven, which we have preheating right now at 400 degrees. If you don't get it into a 12 by 12 square, just keep it in a square. Alright, that will work. Now what you're going to do is take that round of brie that we lightly cut the waxy rind off, and we're going to place the brie right in the center of the puff pastry. We're going to take our mixture of fruit and nuts and thyme and just spoon it onto the top of our brie. Some will fall off, that's okay. We're going to fix it here in a second. Okay, all that yummy goodness. Don't waste it. It's going to be piled up on top. See if I can push some of that stuff that's fallen off up onto the sides. That looks like it'll work. Okay? And now we're going to gently pull the puff pastry towards the center. Gather that little piece there. Just kind of holding it. Careful not to tear it. And that floured surface is really going to help it not to stick. And I'm just pulling it from all sides up to the center. It's kind of making a little bit of a knot in the center there. Last piece. Okay? And then we want to gently just kind of twist it Just a little. Twist. Maybe a little pinch, because we're going to want to keep this sealed. Alright. And then gently lift, and you could use a spatula if you wanted to, but lift onto a parchment paper lined baking sheet. You could also use your silicone mat if you want. And our final step is going to be to make an egg white wash. We're going to add an egg white only to our egg wash. If you have one of these handy little gadgets that separates, makes your life so much easier. And we're going to add a little bit of salt, which was already in that bowl, to our egg wash. That looks good. Give it a quick beat. Try to get that salt. Okay. And use a brush, pastry brush. And then just kind of lightly brush your brie. And this will give it a nice golden color when it bakes. You could also use this egg white to help hold the knot together if for some reason your pastry is not sticking. But ours looks pretty good. Okay, the final step. Don't forget this. Before we put this in our oven, that's preheating to 400 degrees, we're going to put this whole thing into the freezer for 15 minutes. It kind of helps everything stay together. So I'm going to go ahead and cut for now and place our prepared brie into the freezer for 15 minutes. More after we're finished baking. Alright, welcome back. I just took our baked brie out of the oven and I've let it sit here on the pan just for a little bit because it would be way too hot to touch. Look at this yummy brie that's oozed out the side. I'm going to save that for myself. Alright, just gently put your spatula underneath and have your serving plate very, very close. And we're just going to lift onto our serving plate. And what I like to do then is to surround our brie with all sorts of yummy crackers. And make sure that you have a cheese knife handy. This would be great served with a nice glass of wine and enjoy with your family and friends for the holidays. This is one of my very, very, very favorite recipes to make with puff pastry. I guarantee you, if you take this to a gathering, you will be asked for the recipe, so go ahead and bring the recipe with you. Hope you've enjoyed cooking with Jewelry Child. More back later for some more fun recipes that you can make at home.